Luckily, you're talking to a comedian. We know about failure. You know why? That's how we learn our jobs. You can read all the books you want, you can practice in front of a mirror, but until you actually get on stage in front of a live audience at an open mic where you're not getting paid and the audience isn't getting paid, guess what? That's when you learn everything. That's when you fail a lot, but you learn if your jokes are even funny. You learn your stage presence and your timing and how to handle the audience and everything. There are no other professions like this that do this, right? Nobody else does this. There's not like an open scalpel night at the hospital, is there? Hey, come on down. By day, Bob is a plumber, but tonight he's going to try his hand at comedy or at the surgery, right? No, we don't do that, but our profession does, right? We get up on stage. Any comedian that tells you they have not bombed is lying. In fact, we have fun with other comedians. When they get off stage at a comedy club and they've not had a good show, we'll say to them, hey, nice speech. You can say that to me today because I'm not doing my comedy, but right now I'm touring theaters with another comedian in the Baby Boomer Comedy Show. We do about 2 weekends a month. We're at a theater around the country. And we always do a Q&A after our show, to find out audience questions, because you're not going to be able to ask Seinfeld and Leno questions, but you can ask us. You know what the number one question we get asked? What's your worst show? What's your worst show? Because everyone thinks of comics as bombing, right? They don't ask me about my best show when I killed in front of 4,000 people. They want to know my worst show. The other thing they also ask is they come up and they say, you know, I'm really funny. I should be a comedian. Yeah, they do all the time. I'm really funny. Don't ever say that to a comedian, all right? Yeah, no other professions get that, do they? You know, hey, I'm really good at firing people. I should be in HR. You know? Hey, I'm really good at red tape and paperwork. I should work in health information management systems, right? No, nobody else does that, but they come up and say that to us. You know why they don't try it? They're afraid of hecklers and they're afraid of bombing. Fear of failure scares more people away from trying something than the actual failure itself. Fear of failure scares more people away from trying something than the actual failure itself. So comedians, we're masters at failure, learning how to do it, because that's how we learn our job. And we have a couple tips to help you succeed, and tips and things we do that I can pass on to you. First of all, we are masters at communicating. We are really good communicators. If you notice, when we get on stage, we give you a lot of information in the setup line so that you could really fast. I do 3 to 4 jokes a minute when I'm on stage. I give you a lot of information in the setup line so you can get the punchline, right? Choose your words carefully when you're trying to explain what the change is or what the thing is you want to do. Don't be too pithy, don't be too short. I was having my HVAC installed at my house a couple years ago, and the 2 guys that came to install it, they were working for about a half an hour, and after about a half an hour, one of them came and knocked on my door, and I opened the door, and he comes in and he closes the door, and he didn't speak English 100%, but he was pretty good, and he looked at me and he goes, "Are you alone?" How do you answer that? I said, I got somebody, No, nobody else here? I said, well, no, someone's going to be here. But they're not here right now. I said, what do you need? And he goes, electric. We turn electric off. Nobody going to come by and turn it back on. We get electrocuted. He's trying to say, is anyone going to walk by and flip that thing on? I said, oh, no. Nobody will do that. Do not start off with, are you alone, okay? That is not the way to do that, all right? So the first way to make sure that you're not failing and that you're going to succeed is to communicate. Second way to really succeed in anything is that you got to pay attention to the easy communications that you think are obvious and everyone knows. For me, I think the easiest thing I do is hand somebody my introduction. All right? I say, here's my introduction. Read it. I will go on stage. Do you know how many times I've had a bad introduction? When I started out, I had people reading my bio, which is 3 pages of stuff my mom likes to hear about. Not so much the audience. I had people read my jokes. I had one woman start reading my jokes. She's getting the laughs. I'm backstage going, wait, I'm doing those in a minute. One guy got on and he goes, this joke is so funny, I just got to tell you. No, you don't. I had one woman, she didn't read my bio or the joke. She read the email I sent to get hired. It was the weirdest thing. She's on stage telling them all the reasons we should hire me. I'm like, I'm here. Everyone's looking at me like, are we going to vote on this? Because she's right there. Like, I flew in for this. I'm going on stage, right? I've had people try to be funny. I had one woman get on stage, and this was my introduction. And now we got a comedian. She better be funny or we're not paying her. And she walked off stage. I know, it's a little bit of pressure on me, right? Luckily, I was funny and I got paid. But, one guy, he wanted to get everyone quiet because he couldn't get everyone quiet. So he got on stage and he yelled at them. He goes, "Okay, everyone, shut up. We got a comedian here. She's really funny now. Shut up." And he walked off stage. I'm like, that's a little bit of pressure. And talk about people being hostile. Yeah, you can't be funny after that. Now I got to be funnier than whatever they were talking about with their friend, right? I also, I do a lot of office humor, so sometimes I go by the work lady. I've had people introduce me as the working girl. I know, I get on stage, people are wondering what kind of entertainment that they've hired. She doesn't look like one. She at the brothel this woman owns. I had probably the funniest introduction. A guy remembered that I have written for things like The Tonight Show and stuff. Well, he remembered I was a writer. He forgot that it was like The Tonight Show and stuff. He tried to wing it. He went out and he was very nervous. He goes, "And now, coming to the stage is a writer for Reader's Digest." People are looking at him like, "Can't anyone do that? You just send in an article, My friend Rocky's back there going, "You should tell him you're a reader for Writer's Digest." But I realized with all these bad introductions, I realized that people don't understand how to introduce a comedian because they don't do it every day. The thing I think is so easy, they don't understand. So now I give them a little sheet that explains, don't read my jokes. Read what I give you, don't just grab anything like the email I sent. Don't tell my jokes, don't scream at the crowd, why don't you just flip the lights or something? And I get a lot better introductions. So watch the easy communications that might be tripping you up. And the things that you think that people, should know and whatever. Now, my next point, find sort of a failure net. What do I mean by that? You've got to find, what happens when you start failing? What happens when you start making mistakes? It sort of snowballs, doesn't it? It sort of snowballs and you can't stop. Find something that calms you down, something that gets you to stop and take a breath. When I started with comedy, I would bring a bottle of water up on stage. I was only doing 3 or 4 minutes on stage, right? I don't need to drink water, but it was because it was my failure net. If I started bombing or I was having an issue or with somebody or some problem, I'd take a sip of water. In comedy clubs, when I started out, they had, if you were having a problem with a heckler, you were going back and forth and finally it was just getting old, you would order a gin and tonic. And the bouncer would know to come and get the person and take them out. I never got a gin and tonic. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just stand in your office and scream, "Gin and tonic"? and they would bring you one and kick the person out that's causing problems? Well, that was our code word. So find something that calms you down. I do a bottle of water. When I started doing keynotes, 12 or 14 years ago, I was used to doing jokes, 3 to 4 jokes a minute. And it was hard to talk and not just be doing jokes. And so I was afraid I'd get into it and it wouldn't be going well. So 10 minutes in, I built in a quiz, and I'd have people take a quiz. I didn't really care about the answers. I just wanted to have a chance, if things were not going right, to be able to regroup and figure out what's going on. If they're going right, wonderful, keep going. But I built that in ahead of time. So find something you can do ahead of time. I have also sort of a gauge when I am with my jokes. I call it my failure gauge. My jokes about kids and family that I started with, those always hit big. They always hit really well up here. If I get on stage and I start out and the jokes hit down here, like I'm in front of engineers or accountants or something, yeah, I know that's how they're going to laugh. And it calms me down because I know, okay, that's how these people are. I don't feel like I'm bombing. If I was new to it, I'd be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm bombing. They're not laughing up to here. But I know that that's how they laugh, and it calms me down. So if you're starting on a big project, you're about to do something, build in something, a break, bring in, a speaker, bring in some training. Maybe 5 days into the big project, if it's going to be a month long, plan a day off. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but plan a break for yourself so that if things aren't going well, you can have a day or half a day to figure things out, to connect with your network, to do something so that you're not continuing on this path. You don't have to take the day off if you don't need it, but you might be really happy the minute you get the big project, I'm taking a day off 5 days in, or half a day off, just so you get some time, some mental space to stop it and to put the brakes on if things aren't going well. So find your failure net, find your failure gauge, set it up ahead of time, something that calms you down so you don't keep doing it.